It is officially 8:36 on this beautiful Friday morning, August 23rd, coming to you from my living room, feeling excited, feeling great, feeling happy, feeling ready to really, really crush our weekend. And so in true Keep It Moving fashion, I want to bring somebody on the call, or excuse me, have one of you from the call bring us out on the field on this beautiful Friday morning. So I'm looking around. I'll pass on you this morning, Ophelia. I mean, your words might be a little bit too fast for everyone to catch, but let's do this. I'm going to go over to, let's see, who do I have here? All right, so I'm going to go Blessing because she is right here. She's wearing white. She's ready to go. So Blessing, you always have great words of wisdom, and it's been incredible to see how much that you've been able to grow since I've met you, and you've been on this journey of growth. And so it's been exciting to watch from this seat. So hit them. What's the words that you want to share with everyone on this beautiful Friday morning?
Thank you so much for acknowledging that, Elias, and good morning to everyone. I saw a powerful reel last night that just reminded me you can start over at any time. Whatever you're working on, if yesterday wasn't the day you wanted it to be, start fresh today. But whatever you dropped, you can pick it up and you don't owe anyone an explanation. So whatever you do each and every day, whatever goal you're working on, if it's workout, professional, personal, anything, start over as many times as it takes for you to get the success that you're looking for. It's defined by you. So today is day one of whatever you want it to be. It's a freaking fabulous Friday with lots of energy. We got pre-workout flowing through this conversation. We have baseless funk music. Who knows what you're going to be able to come across, but it's already fun. So grab this as a win and let's just go.
We got pre-workout and baseless funk music. How else would you want to start your Friday morning, you guys? But I'm so glad that you said that. It's like, at the end of the day, you can start over no matter what you're doing. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what other people think about you. It does not matter. Somebody said this in a video. I can't recall who it was. I think it was an athlete. He said, your opinion of me is not the opinion that I have for myself. So I don't necessarily care about your opinion about me because you have no idea what I'm going through, my struggles, and your opinion of me is vastly different than the opinion that I have for myself. So you guys, let's get right into this. I was actually inspired. I made a video. I'm going to drop it in a couple hours, but I was inspired by a video. I shared some of that on Monday or Wednesday on group coaching. It was a list of advice that Ryan Serhant had gotten in his career, or words of wisdom, or things that you probably needed to hear. And so what I did is I collected my own list of things that were told to me over the course of my career that have really resonated with me. And I wanted to share some of these with you. And then I'd also like to hear from you. So as I'm going through some of the best advice that I've had in my career, I want you guys to maybe write down a couple, or maybe something is already on the tip of your mind. Maybe it's, hey, don't take this pre-workout, after 7 p.m., whatever that advice was. But I want to share a couple of them with you. There's actually 7, and these were really, really meaningful to me. And they've always rang true in the back of my head, no matter how far I've gone in my career, how much I've grown. These have been really like foundational things that have helped me grow. And so I want to share with you, and I'd love to hear from you guys. So let's go from the top. One of my mentors early on would tell me every single morning, he'd hold me on my shoulders and he'd say, be the one that you dream to be. Every single morning, he'd say, be the one you would dream to be. And I was in the freezer, and I was a public speaker at that time. I would put my head in the freezer and I would do my affirmations when I was in the freezer, just to make sure that I was ready, planned, and prepared for the 4 sessions that I would have to lead that day. But he would always say, be the one that you dream to be. And I think that you all have aspirations, dreams, and hopes to do something bigger than what you are doing right now. So be that person, and make sure that you are supporting that person, that you are encouraging that person, and you are a walking embodiment of that person that you see yourself and you dream to be. The money, the freedom, the travel, the opportunities, the family, the people that you're going to help, be that person. So be the one that you dream to be. Shout out to Tim McGowan. Speak to add value, not to be heard. You've probably heard me say this before, but if you are wanting to get on stages, when you're creating your videos, when you're hosting events, when you're hosting masterminds, whatever it is, speak to add value, not to be heard. It is easy for us to want to speak so people can hear our voice. We're in a very, very public role. A lot of the times we truly enjoy the vanity. We enjoy the dopamine hits. When you feel that, then that means that it's all about you. What I want you to do and what I want to encourage you, and this came from the vice president of Coldwell Banker years and years ago. He said, before I went on stage, he said, speak to add value, not to be heard. And that's a complete mindset shift to make sure that you know that your content, whatever you're doing, is for them and it's not for you. Number 3, you guys have heard this time and time again. It doesn't matter how much you know. I don't care how much Cynthia knows, how much Jessica Segura Hernandez knows. I don't care how much Jeff knows. They're probably brilliant in the amount of information that they know. But what people will remember the most is how you made them feel. I think Maya Angelou first wrote that, but I've heard that many, many times in my career. Number 4, we bring life to words that we say. So positive self-talk isn't fucking taboo, right? When people are saying do affirmations and positive self-talk and don't speak negatively, you bring life to the words that you say. So if you're spewing your venom on other people and all you're doing is saying that, oh, it's doom and gloom and I can't figure it out, I'm not good on social, or I'm not good at this and I don't like door knocking and I can't figure this out and I don't have the systems. All those things that you're saying, you are bringing life to. You are bringing life to. You're also bringing life to, I'm the baddest motherfucker out on the streets. I'm going to change the landscape of real estate. I'm going to be the #1 broker in my market. I'm going to create a movement that will last and will echo for centuries and centuries. I will be known as somebody that made a positive impact in the lives of people around me, right? That's positive self-talk. So when you hear this, bring life to the words that you say. You guys, it is so powerful that you have to protect what comes out of your mouth. You all have that negative friend. You all have that negative friend that every time you get on the phone with them, all it is doom and gloom. Please raise your hand if you have that person. Keep the hand up if you are that person. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's continue on, guys. I got 3 more. In the face of adversity, we find ourselves. Embrace the struggle and embrace the challenges. In the face of adversity, we find ourselves. Or there's another side of this, make or break points, right? Make or break points. So in the face of adversity, you have to say, okay, is this making me tougher? Is this making me stronger? I can look on this call right now. I know a lot of your stories. I know a lot of your personal stories. I know a lot of your trials, tribulations, your triumphs, things that you've been through with your family, things that you've been through with your health, right? And you have to think about it. When you think about the grand scheme of things, of all the things that you have been through in your life, the challenges that you face in real estate, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. We make this shit so much harder than what it needs to be. So in the face of adversity, find yourself. Sergio Scosia told me this 13 years ago, and he said, have the intestinal fortitude to make it happen regardless of your circumstances, okay? I didn't even know what intestinal fortitude meant or the definition of that when he actually told me those words. And so I was just like, yeah. And so then I went and Googled it and I realized what it meant. And it's that courage, right? To have the intestinal fortitude to make it happen regardless of our circumstances. We all have been through shit in our life. Some of us came from tough upbringings. I'm one of them, right? But no matter what, I've had the intestinal fortitude to fight through despite circumstances. By show of hands, how many of you have been through some life-changing shit over the last 5 years? Please raise your hand if you've been through some life-changing shit. How many of you have taken some knocks on the chin in the last few years? How many of you feel like you've been knocked down a couple times in the last few years? Right? But they have the intestinal fortitude to make it happen despite your circumstances. Sergio, hopefully you see this one day because that's always rang true to me. And then last but not least, I've been told this and it makes me a little bit emotional. So I want to just pause for a quick second. Your energy can change someone's life. Maybe you are having a struggle. Maybe you come across somebody like a Kelly, a Princess. Maybe you come across a Demian or a Patrick or a Vernon, that in that moment where they just shared some thoughts and they poured their energy into you, directly into you, right? Like they gave you this vibration of positive energy and you left that conversation being like, I'm so glad that I had that conversation with you, Blessing. That conversation changed it up for me. And I want to say thank you for giving me that style of energy or that type of energy, excuse me. Your energy can change someone's life. And I want you guys to hold on to that one. And that's why it was one of my last ones that I put here, is that your energy has an impact on the people around you in this room, in this industry, and also in your consumer's life. Right? When you think about when you're dealing with your consumers and you're face-to-face or you're screen-to-screen or you're showing properties, what they're going to feel is they're going to feel this energy. And you have to think about this. And I don't want to get too fucking hippity-dippity-flippity on you and kumbaya, but I am for a minute, so stay with me. What I'm saying is that people will feel that. And if you are truly, truly in a place where I say, I'm going to project this onto this person, I want them to feel my energy. I want them to feel my presence. I want them to connect with what I'm doing, what I'm saying. I promise you, if someone tells you your energy was contagious, thank you, I'm so excited to be working with you, or I feel your passion. Passion is because they felt the energy that you have for this industry or for whatever endeavor that it is. So you have the ability with your energy to change someone's life. And on that thread, I want you to drop down in the chat below if there's someone on this call or someone in our industry that has made an impact in your life because of their positive energy, because of what they bring to the table, because of a call that they've had with you and said, girl, or bro, or dude, or what's up? Well, thank you, Vernon. I appreciate it, man. And right back at to you. But I want you guys to know that, God, your energy can change someone's life. And I'm going to hit you with one more, and then I'm going to turn the mic over to you guys. Don't be a liar to yourself. Don't be a liar to yourself. It's about 10 years ago. I was living in Tahoe. I'd gone through, no, it's more than that, about 12 years ago. I went through a divorce at that time. And at that time, I decided, well, shit, I'm living by myself. I got this giant house in Myers in Lake Tahoe, and it's just me and Bodie. I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, giant porch. In the summertime, the bears would literally sit on my porch, but it was so lonely. I was the director of sales for a giant resort in Tahoe. And I had obviously been sober for many years, had a wife, had 2 stepkids, and then we got a divorce and we separated. I went to my house, she went to her house. And I don't think I've ever told this story. Maybe I have. I'm gonna tell it again. And it was a very lonely time for me. And so I decided, well, shit, nobody's looking. Nobody's looking. And so I decided to start drinking again, right? Decided to start drinking again. And what I would do is that my gym was right across the street from a liquor store. And check this out, deep in my addictional thought. It was right across the street from a liquor store. And so I would work out knowing that if I deplete my body good enough right now and work out for 2 straight hours and I sweat and I sit in the sauna, that as soon as I go get a couple shots of vodka, it's going to hit me like that. Think about this. It's going to hit me so hard. That was my mindset at that time. And so I found myself in this very, very deep, dark hole. I'm living out in the wilderness. Some days you have to shovel to get into your driveway. And as long as I would work out, grab my bottles of vodka, go home, shovel my driveway, and sit out there with Bodie and smoke cigarettes, like that was my existence. Well, one day I had to take my car to Santa Rosa. So if you think Tahoe to Santa Rosa, it's a good 4 hours, right? 3.5 hours, give or take. Well, I had to take my car there. They were supposed to replace something and I was going to drive it back home. Well, they said that they needed to keep it for a week. So I called my buddy Jersey Tom. I was like, hey man, can you pick me up and take me to Enterprise? I need to go rent a car. He's like, I'll come and get you and I'll just take you home. I said, what? He's like, I'll take you home to Tahoe. I was like, okay, I'll take the ride, bro. I'll give you gas money. So we're making the 3 hour, 4 hour drive up to Tahoe, and he had known my journey. We had talked about my journey about being sober. And through that ride, I told him that I had started drinking again. I told him about it. And he knew me as a public speaker. He knew me as somebody that was, spilling positivity into the world. And then I told him that I started drinking. And I remember him looking at me and he's like, what the fuck? He's like, why are you going to be a liar to yourself? Why are you going to be a liar to yourself? All these years, all the things that you've done, the people that you've inspired, why are you going to be a liar to yourself over alcohol? He's like, man, I was a quadriplegic for 7 months. I couldn't walk. My existence was I was going to have to be cared for the rest of my life. If you guys have heard the Jersey Tom story, he had cancer that wrapped around the top part of his neck, and within 2 days left him completely paralyzed from the neck down. And that was his existence. 5 months in, he was able to start moving the right knee or right leg from the knee down. And then a month and a half later, he was able to move his left arm. So they would put him in a wheelchair and he'd wheel himself around the cancer ward. And in his Jersey accent, spread love to all the people that were in the cancer ward. Well, 7 months in, he was able to walk out of the hospital and be a complete miracle. 10 years later, Jersey Tom cut off his hand by accident. He had a freak accident with a skill saw in Tahoe and almost lost his life because of that accident. So here he is limping around. He's got a hand that barely moves. And then just 3 years ago, and this is, mind you, his cancer was 20 years ago. 3 years ago, he had a heart attack. And the reason why he had a heart attack is that the chemo that was used to kill the cancer in his body caused tartar in his veins, and that tartar caused a blockage, and he had a heart attack from that chemo that saved his life years and years before. So go back to the car ride. Tom tells me, why are you going to be a liar to yourself? He said, I am just grateful to stand up, to be able to take this drive with my buddy, to talk with you and have these moments. He's like, you're going to throw your life away to alcohol. We pull into Tahoe, and I live in Myers, which gets more snow than like South Lake. We pull into my neighborhood, 5.5 feet of fresh snow, like a complete powder day. We pull into my driveway. Normally, when you get into your house in Tahoe and it's covered in snow, you have two options. You get your snow plow out and you start plowing the snow, or you just have to shovel. Well, I didn't have a snow plow, so I know that I have to go and shovel all the snow. Well, we pull up to my house. My entire driveway was like clean. Like somebody in the neighborhood, I never knew who it was, still to this day, removed every inch of snow in my driveway. And my walkway, I had 4 steps and then a huge deck. There was no snow on my deck, nothing. Like they had came in and just cleaned out everything. So it was a sign. Call it the universe, call it God, call it whatever you will. It was a sign that this is a fresh start. And it was a fresh start. And I wrote that on my account, on my refrigerator, and the rest is history from there. So when I said, don't be a liar to yourself, like you got to remind yourself of everything that you're working towards. The days when you want to have excuses, the days that you don't follow through on the actions that you told yourself that you were going to do, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. And yeah, you're going to lie to other people and that might hurt them, but the person that you hurt the most is yourself. And you are the person that you're going to spend the most time with in this life. So fucking honor yourself. Be that person for yourself. Be that person that is that coach, that one that's in your corner that is constantly elevating yourself. I'll be here for you, but maybe there's a time where I'm not going to be there for you. You guys got to sit with yourself and say, I can't be a liar to myself. You spend the most time with you. Make that time matter. Make that time fabulous. Make that time extraordinary. And make sure that you are not lying to yourself in any way, shape, or form. I wanted to share that sentiment with you, and that's how I wanted to open up today's coaching session. Any thoughts, dialogue, feedback from any of you, feel free to take yourself off mute. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts and your insights. Don't leave me hanging.
I was going to say, you're just going to take your mic and drop it. Can you just like literally do that right now? Because that was like the most powerful thing. And I'm looking at the comments. Elias, you always come with such authenticity. that when you go that deep, I don't know if you were looking around. I know I'm in tears because you do want the most for each and every one of us authentically. And we don't know half of your battle, but we believe you. And I trust you. And I know that when you say that you see something in me and then you say something like what your journey was, how can we not respect you and do and just and see, begin to try to see an inch of what you see for us? Like, man, I am so grateful for you. Like, thank you.
Well, I appreciate you, and literally, this is about you guys. Like my goal is to just see what I can do for you guys, right? And if my story inspires people, then cool. But it's just like Damian came up to me yesterday. He's like, "Congratulations on everything." I was like, "Congratulations on what?" He's like Inman and the things that you're doing in this industry. I'm like, "Oh," he's like, "Man, way to keep it humble, right?" Because at the end of the day, like my main focus is to making sure I'm elevating the humans that are in my environment. So, Blessing, I appreciate the kind words. Christina, you had your hand up, and then Jeff, you had a contribution. Let's hear from you guys.
Yeah, I would, sorry, my internet just disconnected for me. Yeah, I have to say that was like amazing. Thank you for telling us your story. I know in different, calls that we have, you put little bits and pieces, but holy cow, I think we all felt that, and to have, on a Friday morning. And it's so true. I think when people, I had put in the chat, when someone comes into a room and they're just negative, I don't know about you guys. I feel it. It's almost like, I don't know, maybe it's the type of person I am. Like, I'll feel that heaviness and I almost have to step away because I'm like, no, like, I got to stay in this mindset. Like, this business can be hard. And it almost makes me want to step away. And it's not to be rude. It's just, I need to stay focused. Ooh, I feel this heaviness from this person. Nothing personal. I'm just going to walk away and maybe go talk to these people. So I think too, is people understanding that, sometimes your heaviness will go on to other people. So shedding that light. I know people are saying like people like Marketing Babe and Just Bling, where someone walks into a room and they're positive and it's addicting. And Elias, like you give that off as well, as like that energy is addicting and it continues to bring people's lives up. And you have no idea how much that makes a difference, even in just someone's day, starting these calls at 8:30.
Well, I appreciate you guys even being here and spending this time with me. I really, really do. Brandy, let's go to you and let's go to Dee Bledsoe. And then I think Brianna had her hand up, or no? Was that did I see something? Sorry, I thought I did. Let's go, Brandy, and then we'll go Dee Bledsoe.
I just want to say I resonated with that entire story from like both ends, but I think it's kind of just like going with what Christina just said. It's so important, the energy that you put out and who you're putting yourself around. And on a whole different thought, if you can put yourself around somebody that takes up energy, that takes up space, even if you are somebody that does the same thing, because sometimes you come in the point of your life where your own voice gets so quiet, you need a cheerleader next to you, reminding you, being so loud until your voice comes back, so loud until your thoughts can get straight to where you're like, okay, I can do this. And I think it's so important to know that about like yourself and to put yourself in those rooms. And I just want to say thank you to you and everyone who is loud like that, for the days that I cannot be that, and for days like this on coaching calls where it's just such a great reminder to come together and be each other's cheerleaders and be loud and take up the space and put out the energy and just love on each other. So.
Well, I appreciate you. I really do. Let's go Dee Bledsoe, and then we'll go Zali, and then we'll shift gears in the conversation. We'll talk some business. Let's go Dee Bledsoe.
Good morning. Yeah, that was a hell of a way to start it. But that quick conversation between you and I yesterday, that's the perfect example, I think, of what you're talking about, is that you get so ingratiated with what you're doing and who you are that you don't even really realize how impactful you are. Like, you were totally surprised and didn't know what I was talking about when I'm like, congratulations, because you've had your head down and you just continue to do the work. A friend of mine, he said, you don't look at the scoreboard, you just keep scoring, which basically you just keep at your path. And again, you might not even recognize all the time all of the effect you had. Yesterday, when I came into that into the meeting, someone had told me, man, I've been seeing you online. I've been seeing seeing you on the calls and seeing the stuff that you post. Every time I hear that, it clicks to me that somebody is seeing this shit, but in the midst of doing the work, I don't really feel it. I don't feel the effects of it. So again, thank you for the encouragement and this space that encourages us all to keep working and keep doing what we do. But thank you for being you to all of us. I mean, it's meaningful, and the effects are felt. We appreciate
Well,
it.
I appreciate it, my man. And I got to give you some props, obviously, from the business side. But man, like you can see you've been in the gym, like seeing you face to face, bro. You can see you've been in the gym, man. So love what you're doing. Appreciate you. Let's go, Zali. Last contribution. We'll get into some business.
Thank you. I add myself to everyone else's comments. I thank you for this vulnerability that you just showed. And I heard something yesterday that it aligns perfectly with this. It's someone said this, your story is your strength. And I totally agree with that. And I think that goes perfect with this because you also, not only the vulnerability you're showing today, but you also said something once that when we struggle with an activity or whatever it is that we are doing, look back in the past, because the answer to that is in the past. And you can always find, maybe we don't know how to do something right now. Maybe we don't know how to tackle a specific, thing right now. But there is always something in the past that tells, okay, I don't know how to do this, but I've done this, something else. I've done, so many other things that would show me, would be the path, would lead me to where I need to go to get this, to accomplish this. So it's also, I like the fact that, you put so much of yourself out there, because your story is your strength, but it's also a strength for somebody else. And I think this morning you have changed a lot, the attitude of a lot of people. I didn't want to come in today, and I'm so glad that I did. And I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way, that they are inspired, that you have changed the way our outlook this morning. And thank you for that.
I appreciate it. That's a privilege. Right? It's a privilege, not just a right because of my title with this company. It's a privilege, and so I will never take it for granted. But when I think about this is why I always encourage everyone to write. And so, when I think about this morning and the thoughts, I wrote down and I have chills talking about this. I wrote down the advice that I've been given over my career because I was inspired by a video that I saw. And when I really started to unpack this, then what happened is that I went back to those moments. I remember Tim McGowan talking to me. I remember Sergio talking to me. I remember Joe Pasillo talking to me. I remember Andrea McKinley talking to me. I remember Derek Kanoa, who would always tell me, constant and never ending improvement. So what it did is it took me back to all of these powerful moments. And so what I want you guys to do, and what I encourage you to do, and I'll give you two challenges. I want you to just write down a list of some of the best advice that you've been given in your life. Maybe make 7, 5, 3, whatever that number works for you, whatever number works for you. And then the second part of that challenge is just create a video on that. Because something that you've been told in your life might be an encouragement for somebody else in your large audience. And you never know, right? Like you never know, because here we are, here's my audience. At the time where we said this was 47 people on the call. Something that I said today maybe struck a nerve with you. And it's the same thing when you guys write your own list, maybe share that on social. Is my list ready? Yeah. Is my video recorded? Absolutely. Will I drop that shit today? 100%, because I feel that it's important. So you guys, if you have something, if you have some advice that a coach gave you, a teacher, your husband, your wife, your significant, write a list down, go back to those moments in your life and drop a video on it. That would be my encouragement. So let's go ahead and shift gears. We have some guests on the line. Liz, it is nice to have you here. Is this your first Keep It Moving group coaching session?
Yes, it is.
All right, cool. Well, welcome to some heart and some energy. Thus far, what are some of your thoughts and contributions on the conversation thus far?
Oh my, I was not expecting to cry today.
Okay, all right. I wasn't expecting for you to cry either.
I got my pumpkin latte thing going on. Today's going to be great. I came in here and I was like, oh my God, trying to hide my tears. But that was, it was so motivational. And I was like, oh my God, I need to tell all my homies to join this like coaching call, just because it really is like, I don't even know. It's like a breath of fresh air, right? Like I don't really get people in my life coming at me like you do. So it's honestly, it's a great way to start my day.
Well, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Let's get right into this, you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being present. Thank you for being in this moment. I got a couple things I want to share with you guys because it was brought to my attention, and I don't think that I've done a good enough job making sure that you guys know what this is or where this is. So for our lender partners, just bear with me. This will be some internal EXP stuff, but obviously we're in a new world. We're in a new era. Things are a little bit different. We're figuring out a lot of things. Like, for example, when we get an online lead from a portal, do I have the conversation about my commission on that call, or do I wait for a follow-up call? I know I have to have them sign an agreement, but it's kind of like we did what we were in PED season when we had to have that signed before we went and showed any properties. So there's all kinds of things that we're figuring out. Am I articulating what this actually means very clearly? Am I doing that before the first showing? Am I setting a buyer's consultation? So you guys, we are figuring out a lot of stuff as we go. But at the end of the day, that is your responsibility to get that document signed, and do not cut corners. Do not try to show properties, even though you haven't got it signed, and maybe I'll get it signed later. Protect yourself, protect your license, and do not do dumb shit. Dumb shit is, oh, I'm just going to go and show them property. No, that cannot happen without a signed agreement. But there is a toolkit here that I want to make sure everyone knows where it is and that you have access to this. So at EXP, there is a buyer toolkit. You're going to see all of the resources here, from articulating your value, the essential forms, all the FAQs, insights, social media shareables, which are weak, don't use those. Here's the broker buyer agreement. So if you're ever looking for the broker buyer agreement, obviously we've done a very good job housing that in Slack. But if for some reason you're not really up to speed on how to peruse Slack, here's one guide for you. Utilization of the forms, use this FAQ, so on and so forth. Here's the latest update from August 1st. It's a really, really good video. What you'll find here is you'll find all kinds of different scripts that you guys can use to your advantage. Now, obviously, you don't want it to be just like someone else's words. You want to make it fit your own style, your own dialect, the way that you communicate. However, there's some really, really good tools in here. There's some really, really good resources in here. So I want you guys to be able to know where this is, craft your unique buyer value tip of a proposition, tips to articulate your value, the buyer's journey roadmap. There's just some really, really good stuff in here. We've been talking about the single property form. The single property form means that you have an online lead that you just connected with. Maybe you don't have a rapport with them just yet. The single property form allows you to start showing them 3 properties, let's say 1 to 3 properties, but allows you to build that relationship. And then when you go into the the BRBC, that's more of an extended time. That's more of a broad relationship. And then you can go over that in further detail. So I want you guys just to have information at your fingertips. What I'll do is I'll drop the link down below. You have everything that you will possibly need. You'll also be able to watch these videos. What I highly recommend that you guys do, I listened to this Leo Pereira and Tom Ferry podcast yesterday when I was on the road. It is a really, really powerful conversation. And what it also allows you to do is allows you to see how powerful of a leader that is at the helm of EXP. When you think about obviously who you guys are aligned with here at Fast Real Estate, but when you think about the company as a whole and what we've been able to do at EXP to really be in front of it and to have the proper communication, to have the trainings and the workshops and the forums and sites like this to give you guys all the tools that you need. Now, what you need to do is you need to build your own folder, your own flow, your own, storyboard, so you can make sure that you know exactly how to interact with consumers in the new world. So I'm going to hook you guys up with this, but I do want to ask, how many people have already been to this? How many people have been reviewing this information up to now, or is this new to you? Go ahead and take yourself off of mute.
I've looked at it, and I also went to one of the classes that was offered by Debbie.
Yeah.
And I felt smart when I was in there because we've been just really talking about it, you guys. I understood everything. I didn't have any questions. There were tons of questions. There were like over 200 people in that room, and there were tons of questions. It seemed like not a lot of people like know. And I was in the meeting went over, and it was like an hour and a half meeting or seminar or whatever call, but I felt smart. So let's just put it that way. And I'm brand new. So you guys go in that room, you'll be like superstars.
I love it. And I would just say that and just have that as a guide, you guys, because here's what doesn't matter. And I love you all. It doesn't matter what you think about these changes. I love you all, but it doesn't matter if you think if these changes suck or not. That doesn't matter. We're here. Here's the rules. Here's the policy. That's all that matters. We have to follow suit. We have to walk the line, right? So it's like, oh my God, this sucks. Well, there's going to be more changes down the road. This is a change in our industry. Either step up or step out of this industry. If you're not willing to follow the guidelines, not willing to educate yourself, sit in the rooms, download the documents, paraphrase the documents, highlight the documents, know how to explain the documents, then what are you actually doing? What are you actually doing? Step up or step out of this game? So you guys have that toolbox that is readily available for you. I would go over those things until the point of an exhaustion, over and over and over and over again. In the conversation that Leo has with Tom Ferry, they also talk about from the seller side, right? What does that communication look like? And here's something I shared yesterday in person. If you have a seller that is determined not to offer any type of compensation, and they say that from the onset, I believe that that is just smoke, and I believe that a powerful agent is going to be able to get around that. Also, I want you guys to be able to know that buyers may think that it's the best opportunity for them to go to work with the listing agent. Once again, that's an uneducated buyer. Here's a phrase that I want you guys to put into your flow when you have any type of pushback with a consumer. You guys have heard me say things like, here's what we do next, right? Here's what we do next is this perpetual baton pass throughout your entire presentation, sellers or buyers. But here's what I want you to do, Vernon. I want you to take yourself off of mute really quick. Tell me as a seller, you're a seller, that we're not going to offer any buyer commission.
I'm not paying them shit.
Okay. All right. Vernon, I hear you loud and clear, but may I offer you a different perspective?
Sure.
Okay, so all that right there, may I offer you a different perspective? Now what we're going to do is we're going to go down our different path of a different perspective, open their eyes, talk about visibility, talk about wanting to get the most out of their house, give them the most exposure, not limiting who's going to see the house, on and on and on. And also, Vernon, is it safe to say that when you bought this home that you used an agent? Is that correct? Back in 10 years ago, you used an agent, right?
Yes, I did.
Right. And then when you go to purchase the next home, are you going to be using an agent?
Yes, I am.
Right. And so I want you to think about the perspective of when you are, as a consumer, looking at these opportunities, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have these communications with the listing agent. You're going to want to see if there's any type of concessions, because a buyer might say, you know what, I like the house, but I don't like that house enough to pay a concession. So I might just go to another house down the street that maybe is offering a concession. So I want you to think about the perspective. It might be the ideal house for them, but the house down the street listed at 32 Main Street has a similar build and is right at the similar price point as yours, and they're offering a concession and you're not. Where do you think that buyer's going to go? So I want you to have a perspective that is a little bit different than what you're looking at right now. And I want to show you over the course of the last 60 days, X amount of houses that have closed in this area have had a concession on them. And the average concession for each of those homes has been 2%. And when you look at what you're going to net on your home, Vernon, with the additional 2% or 2.5 of commission that's paid, that means that your family is still going to net $137,000. And at the end of the day, that net number is the most important to you, isn't it, Vernon?
Yes, it is. You're good.
So I just wanted to offer you a different perspective, right? And so it's just like the close that, hey, do you consider yourself, Vernon, an open-minded person?
I do. I would say that.
All right. Perfect. Since you're open-minded and you're not closed-minded, here's what I want to do. I want to get together with you on Thursday. I have 2 openings. I have a 5 o'clock or I have a 7 o'clock, and I want to accomplish 2 things. I want to, make sure that you and I are a good fit together and you want to actually work with me and I want to work with you moving forward. And 2, I'm going to explain the buying process so you as a consumer are educated on everything that you need to know about how to purchase real estate in the Bay Area. Sound good?
How can I tell you no?
Because why can't you tell me no? Because you just told me that you're what?
I'm open-minded.
So you're open-minded. So we're going to move forward. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. What time works best for you, the earlier or the later?
You manipulator.
I'm not a manipulator, bro. But you guys, can I offer you a different perspective?
Yeah. That's
Can
cool.
I offer you a different perspective? And I learned that years ago, but when I heard it again recently, I'm like, damn, that is such a good one, especially how buyers and sellers are thinking right now. Let's hear from you guys. I want to hear from you guys about any wins that you had from the action that you've taken this last week or this week. I got a late night video last night from Chris. Chris is in the office knocking out things that he has to do for his challenge that he's a part of right now. But would love to hear from you guys. What's some action that you've taken this week, and what were some of the results? Was it an appointment? Was it a listing appointment? Was it a listing sign? Was it a buyer in a contract? What was it? I want to know from you guys. What action did you take this week, and what were the results? Anybody want to chime in? And feel free, take yourself off mute, throw your hand up. Who's got something for us? Let's go, Vernon.
2 listing agreements signed, 1 going live next weekend, the next one going live September 15th. And we had that conversation with our seller on the front end. Wasn't as smooth as you, E. The lightweight massage.
I'm sure it was if you got the signed listing agreement.
Did get the signed listing agreement, and they have decided, we're at 5%. So we have that allocation established, listing agreement is signed, and I'm looking forward to selling these properties fairly quickly.
So Vernon, let me ask you a question. How did you procure these leads? Where did these come from?
One of the leads is, so I'm a part of the Flex Buyer program. We served a client that was a Flex lead, and then we did such a phenomenal job with that lead that he referred his family member to us. And so that one lead has turned into 3. One is a listing, and then we're actually representing another one of his family members for the buyer. So and then the second was, we have the relationship with Revive, E. So it was a Revive referral, locked the listing agreement in, agreed to the 5%. We're going live in a couple of weeks, moving forward, man.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. Amazing contribution. I appreciate that. Who else, you guys? Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Appointments. Who's got a new somebody in contract? Maybe it was a personal win. Maybe you hit a certain amount of days in the gym consecutively with pre-workout. Like, what is it, you guys? I want to hear from you. Let's go, Montiel. Let's hear from you. I don't think I've ever seen your hair straight. Looks great.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I was doing my calls yesterday, and I talked to somebody that reached out to us that wants to rent. And throughout my conversation, I was able to set up a buyer consultation. That is today. She's excited. She want to talk to a lender. So that was pretty cool. Pretty cool. So
good for you. Good for you. And I've had that experience too. One Lakeside Drive, they wanted to go see a 1-bedroom condo. It was monthly rent was like $4,500. And this was literally 2 years ago. And we showed them 4 rentals right at Lake Merritt. And then a week into their searches, unfortunately, the client's grandma or aunt passed away, and the client inherited $400,000, and it changed their search. They went and bought a house up on by Grizzly Peak, up on Skyline, $1.3 million, and they were able to close really fast. And things change, circumstances change. Also, when they know what they're going to be paying for the next couple of years, you take a $3,900 rent for 3 years. That's over 130 G's. There's a huge down payment for you. So congrats on your new client. Who else has something? Anybody else have a win that they want to share? Business, personal, professional. Anybody else have one? Let's go, Ash, and let's go, Jessica Segura Hernandez after.
Rates went down today. So that's huge. Today is a great opportunity. The Fed for years they've been saying, they haven't been saying they're going to cut rates, but they've been hinting at it. They flat out said it's time for a policy change. So their meeting is on the 17th and 18th, but the market's reacting to it right now. So rates are coming down right now. So great day, great news. Tell all your clients.
All right, so just so we know, what are rates at today, right now? Let's just go through like a quick rate update so everybody knows.
All right, let's see. MortgageNewsDaily.com is where you can see live time what has been affected by the market. So conventional loan about 6.4 and FHA we're in the fives. I haven't seen the fives. So we are in the fives for FHA. If you know anybody who has a high FHA loan, like in the high sixes or sevens, they can do a streamlined refinance, no credit check, no income check, and no paying for an appraisal. Literally, well, it's a mortgage only credit check. They can do that and it's really fast and there's no risk for them to lower their rate. Just so you guys know, if you have any clients that are stressed out about that payment, and it's a good way to kind of bridge that conversation if they want to buy their next house or if they want to sell that house. You can kind of start with, hey, I see you have this interest rate you bought last year, and that might start the conversation going.
God, I love this. I love this. Really, really great news. Let's go, Jessica Segundo Hernandez. We'll go Blessing, and then Mama San, you will be the last contribution. Let's go, Jessica. Hit them.
Good morning, everyone. I think one of my major wins was actually last week. And this is actually like a major win in my whole entire career and I just started. I got 3 listings signed in 2 days. So that was a major win for me. And we got into contract with Blessing that Sunday or Monday, I believe, or I can't remember, but that same week. And then I had a family member reach out to me and let me know that they're ready to buy their home. So we're going to meet with them this Saturday for Blessing and I are going to meet with them this Saturday for a buyer's consultation and try to get the process started for them.
God, I absolutely love all the momentum that you have in your business. This is really, really incredible. So great job to you. Amazing job. Well done. Let's go up to Blessing, your business partner, your partner in crime. Congratulations to both of you. Blessing, let's go. Let's hear from you.
Wonderful. I'm always super proud of Jessica. Like yeah, super proud of you, girl. I picked up an Op City lead on Wednesday, and so at basketball practice, because that's where my life is, I was talking to the coach's wife, and literally every time we get into a real estate conversation, my phone rings. So I'm telling her that she's my good luck charm. But I picked up an Op City lead that was just he was very chaotic in what he wanted. And I told him, well, I can meet with you in person and do a buyer's consult. Him and his partner came in yesterday, and it was like, you talk about adding value from the very beginning and emphasize using the team stats and all of that. Before I could make it past page 3, they're already like, we want to work with you just based on like everything that's going on. So that was a great just flow, and then still going through like all of the detail of what they're looking for. Now, unfortunately, they're looking up in Shasta, but I was able to connect with an EXP agent up there. The buyer representation agreement is in their inbox and just waiting for them to hit the button, and they're going to go looking to shop for property. But it's just that when you do it and you don't think about, if it's going to be fearful or what they're going to think, and you just go through the flow, it was just a good reminder that I can really connect with people, and that rapport shows up, and it's really good to have an awesome team behind us. So it was really nice to have that.
You guys leverage the stats, leverage the tools that we have as well, particularly tools like Real Scout. Like an average agent is going to put you on what they call a drip. Here's what we do because we are a championship team. Here's how we're different. Like, they have to see that there's a clear delineation between the average agents and us, and really good job leveraging the stats and doing what you do best, building connections. Let's go House of Mama San, and then that will be the last contribution.
All right. Hello, everyone. This week was a really good one. In the beginning of the week, I closed one deal, and then the following deal, I got into another transaction, and then following day got into another transaction. And one of the transactions I got into this week was one of my highest deals of my career. So
tell us the price point.
1.68.
Hey, let's go. Let's go. And I think that you've already exceeded your last year's numbers this year.
I did. I'm really happy to hear.
I
And
love it.
super excited to join the Zillow Effects team as well. Just joined yesterday, so.
That's right. You earned that. You earned that spot.
Yeah.
So congratulations. So you guys, wonderful session. I just appreciate you guys being here, being present, being in this moment. Make sure that you're utilizing that toolkit, make sure that you just have a flow, whether you have a whiteboard, whether you have a Trello board, whether you have a storyboard, it's a threefold, whatever it is. I've heard some really, really good examples of people creating the folders, even doing it at the houses. Vernon and I were talking about it last night, but no matter what flow you have, just have a flow. Just have a flow, because we're learning, the consumers are learning. We have to give them some grace. They have to understand that this is the new world that we live in, that it's a policy change, it's a rule change, it's not a law, it's a rule and policy change. So we have to teach them as we're learning at the same time. But people are looking to you guys to be the professionals, to guide them, to be the gospel that this industry needs to hear. And so really, really good contributions today. I'm going to just go take a couple takeaways from some people. But Patrick, I've seen many people getting ready on these calls, but I don't think I've ever seen the drive and hairspray at the same time. So congratulations to you. Hair looks wonderful. Patrick, one takeaway from our time together today.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Gotta look sharp,
That's
but
right.
one takeaway from this meeting especially is that we all have struggles. We all have demons and darkness inside of us. And I think it's our due diligence to tell that to the world, our story. And I think that's the beauty of this industry, is that we're able to share this with a lot of people, a lot of families, and we're able to kind of feel, reciprocate that feeling with them. And I think it's just beautiful. And I kudos to you for being transparent every single time that we're in the meeting. It's very inspiring. And yeah.
Well, I appreciate you, Big Dog. Thanks for being here. Thank you for all of your contributions, as always. And thank you for being the hustler that you are. Let's go to Antu. Let's go one quick takeaway from you, and then we'll wrap sesh.
Takeaway today was for me to keep moving, because it's been a struggle in a sense that I'm so new to the industry and just really don't have the pattern down. And coming here does help me, motivate me to move forward, and hearing you guys' stories makes me want to work harder. And I'm finally going to my first open house to shadow my advisor for the first time, to see what it's like to do this, because I don't even have signs. And then I hopefully will host something for myself soon. So if you guys have anything, just throw it at me. I'll be your little bee for a while.
I love it. And I would encourage you, everybody, obviously be stalking that open house channel in Slack, just to see, if there's one that, is in a market that you want to serve. But once again, you guys, the challenge, write down a list of the best advice that you've ever received in your life. And I want you to go back to those moments. How were you feeling? What were you thinking? What was going on in your life at that time? And ask yourself, am I still taking heed to this advice? These years later, or months later, days later, am I still taking heed to this advice? And then I would write that down, and I'd sit with that for a moment. And just the names that I mentioned earlier, those names have had a huge impact in my life and in my business, and I'll always remember them. And so go back to that. And then part 2 of that challenge was, if you have the courage to do so, the intestinal fortitude, make a video on that, because I promise you, something that you've learned and something that you have lived by for all this time is probably going to be encouragement for somebody else going through similar challenges and similar struggles. So you guys, I appreciate you at a very high level, more than you know. I'm going to go and celebrate some people's accomplishments today. But first, I will see you, Vernon, at 11 for intensity. We've had some people drop out, but it's okay, because I knew that, but we'll go into that at 11. But you guys, I appreciate all of your contributions. So as always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision, and have yourself an amazing weekend. Peace.
Peace.